Welcome to the Third Generation Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Eric and Rob.
And welcome. Third Generation Wrestling Podcast, Wrestlemania Backlash, the post show. I am your host, the Real Big E. My co-host, Rob, the Ambassador. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Kind of anxious to talk about this one, especially one match in particular. Curious to see both of your thoughts.
I mean, whatever could you mean, sir?
Well, we're gonna get to it.
I'm sure we are. I'm sure we are, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't discuss that match with one of the participants' biggest fans, MJ Book, the host of the Countdown Podcast 2020. How you doing?
Oh boy. Probably was hopefully I'm not revealing too much. Probably was a good idea to not do this immediately after the podcast, after the pay-per-view, because yeah, it allowed me to chill a little bit. But I'll probably just get worked up as soon as we get to it.
Yeah, yeah. Before we get to the show, I want to give you the opportunity um to speak on what happened this past Friday, I believe it was. The passing of New Jack, Jerome Young. I know myself and Rob, we talked about it already, but MJ Book, you being probably the biggest ECW fan here, just open the floor to you and say your piece about the man.
I appreciate it. Huge ECW fan. Grew up, I was a teenager by the time ECW was really getting around. So ECW was just huge with me. I was part of the tape trading thing. So that's how I had to watch it. And one of my favorites was New Jack and the Gangsters, Mustafa and New Jack. They were not your typical African American black type of a team, but they were the kind that I liked. Anybody who's a listener of this show knows I have a feeling about black wrestlers, the dance and all that. It drives me nuts. New Jack was definitely not dancing. He was definitely not trying to make people laugh, even though he did make people laugh, but that wasn't the point of him. He was a gangster. He was violent. He was angry, but I loved it. And he just was one of my all-time favorites. I know what he did in the ring sometimes people had a problem with, but he's one of my all-time favorites. He was on the countdown, one of my favorite stables and tag teams. I was talking about New Jack and Mustafa, the gangsters. So it was a really sad thing, a sad day hearing that he had passed away. Very touching speech by Paul Heyman. I saw that was tremendously touching. Very good uh, honoring of New Jack, and rest in peace to New Jack. Thoughts to his friends, his family, uh, former coworkers at ECW. We did lose a wrestling legend. I don't care what anybody says. Rest
Oh,
in peace,
without a
sir.
doubt. Without a doubt. Definitely a legend. Some people don't need to be enshrined in anybody's Hall of Fame to be a legend, and he is one of them. No matter how you feel about him, you, he came along in a time where there was no internet. Like you said, it was tape trading, but everybody knew who he was. And if your name is traveling by word of mouth, and that's it, then that says a lot about you.
Definite.
So, okay, let's get into this pay per view put on by the WWE, sponsored by Netflix, Army of the Dead, starring few soon to be Hall of Famer Dave Batista. And yes, that is relevant to this show.
Jesus.
I'm wondering though, is Peacock pissed off about this? Did they know about this sponsor? Because WWE is promoting a whole another, you know, streaming service. But Netflix being damn near a monopoly of, you know, the amount of streaming and movies and television shows that they have. I know WWE has a somewhat of a deal with Netflix, and that's probably why this is happening. Also, Batista, there's a lot of links. So there being on Peacock, I'm not sure if that was a thing. The Peacock knew. I don't know. It's just interesting to me, but that's not why it's interesting for this show. We will get there. I did enjoy the voiceover that Batista did for the video package. That was pretty cool. I am excited for the movie, but movie tie-ins don't tend to go well. It didn't go well at WrestleMania 31. It was hokey, a little hokey with the Terminator. I think UFC did a tie-in with King Kong Godzilla. I think they did something with their show. I don't know. It just never. It's hard to take serious. I guess that's the best way to put it. All right, so getting away from that, we did kick off with the Raw Women's Championship, pitting Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. I thought this was a good match to start the show off. I thought it was a bit clunky at times. Timing was off in certain sequences, and or it looked too timed. But all in all, I thought these women did a very good job starting the show. Charlotte, I guess, was channeling Cruella Deville with her ring gear. I don't know what that was about with the Dalmatian polka dot trunks. I don't know.
Isn't
She
that Netflix too?
No, that's Disney.
It's on Disney.
That's
So
yeah.
just streaming services all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, there is a trailer. There's a Cruella movie coming out. Um, so I thought this was a fun match. Like I said, I thought it was a little clunky at times. I think Charlotte is really revved it up as a heel. I know it's hard to do that, get even more despicable as a heel, but I think she's found a way to do that. But I think Rhea escaped with the championship just barely. I didn't like that ending. Seemed I don't know. I've seen people give boots through the ropes before, and they got right back in the ring. I don't know. I guess she fell, and then that allowed Rhea Ripley to hit the riptide on Asuka. I gave it a match a B because I did think it was a good way to start the show, but it was still flawed. So just a B. What'd you think, Rob?
Yeah, I went B as well. I enjoyed it a little bit more than you, not just because Oscar's in it. I just thought that the match flowed well. I'm not saying there weren't some problems with it, but I could overlook those because I could tell these women weren't mailing it in, that they were really trying to get it in. And I was impressed. Obviously they're trying to make Rhea look strong. And even though she pinned Asuka clean, I can't be mad about it. It was a good match. So B.
Okay.
I gave it a B plus, kind of a low B plus, but a B plus. There definitely was some problems here and there throughout the match, but not enough to curse at it or anything like that. It was able to flow really easily. I was glad that Charlotte lost because I was for Rhea Ripley, and the problem with Backlash is you kind of figure that titles will not change hands because it's fresh off of WrestleMania, especially for certain people. And Rhea just won it at WrestleMania. Been really odd had she would have lost it, but Charlotte Flair was there, so it's like, oh man, are they going to give it to Charlotte again? But it was definitely a good match. I've seen Rhea perform better. I don't know. If there was somebody who I thought did not perform as good as they usually do, I'd have to say Rhea. I don't know what was up with her, but either way, I was still able to enjoy it. Uh, Glad Rhea won. Definitely an interesting choice to start with this match. So B plus.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Rhea did seem a little off. I think she was the one. Her timing was kind of off. And I could tell she was thinking before she was doing stuff. So she'll get better with time. You gotta remember, she's still not quite there yet, but she's got the look and the charisma and the character. People like her, so that's why she's where she is. Okay, go from there to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode versus the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic. I guess this happened on the kickoff. I know I didn't mention the kickoff because I didn't watch it, so that's why.
Well, you miss Sheamus?
And Ricochet wearing
Ricochet,
black
yeah.
jeans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard about the match. I don't care. Then that they haven't done shit with Ricochet. He's been on main event, and Sheamus is worthless too.
Well, they made it seem like they might do something with Ricochet.
Yeah,
I know we've been teased with it before.
Yeah,
because it's a damn shame because he's super talented.
It's not his. It's not him. I'm not mad at him. It's the booking. So, yeah, I mentioned the kickoff because Dominic, I guess, was attacked by the Dirty Dogs and tried to take him out of the match. And right before the match, they're in the training room and Dominic can't go, so Ray's gonna do it all himself. He's gonna take on Rude and Ziggler all by himself, and I really enjoyed this. Actually, even when it was just Ray, I thought this was still pretty good. I thought it was pretty good work. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, I remember now. Dolph is like 41, Rude is 45, Ray is 46, and these guys are putting in work. And then Dominic finally limps out and he's 24 or something like that. So he's got all kind of veteran status in the ring to help him. But I did enjoy this match. I was worried that it was going to be cut down. I thought it was going to be kind of cliche that Ray was just not going to tag in Dominic and say, no, I got it. And I thought he was going to get beat, but that's not what happened. Dominic tagged in. They did the whole back and forth. This match got a lot of time. In the end, the Mysterios do pick up the win with Dominic and the Frog Splash at the top, and they become the first father and son duo tag team champions. Y'all might think I'm crazy. I gave this A-. I thought this was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I don't know why I was so bought in, but I was. Maybe because I am a Rey Mysterio fan, always have been. And I've been enjoying Dominic. I don't think Dominic's really had a terrible match, a terrible outing. Really, with him, it's just getting comfortable on the mic, I think, and exploring those critiques that he gets when he does get feedback from in-ring. He doesn't really miss his steps. He never looks gassed. I thought that super kick he put on Ziggler was pitch perfect. Yeah, I got no qualms. I don't care for post match interviews in the ring. I hate those. I think it's stupid. I think it's too much. But other than that, yeah, I'm sticking with my grade. A-. I liked it. Book.
I, in the end, have to give this a B-. Now, there was definitely some entertainment in the match. The problem was they were talking so much about the fact that first ever father-son tag team champions, first ever father-son tag team champions. Long before the match started, that I knew, okay, well, I already know who's going to win. Because you're talking about this way too much. And so I just couldn't get into it. And plus the idea of Ray going out there by himself, I'm like, oh please, Dominic's going to show up. So let's just do it, get it over. I just couldn't get into it. And that's probably just me watching way too much wrestling and knowing what's going to happen, and it took away from it. And in the end, it's the tag titles. I just don't care. WWE just doesn't care about the tag belts. Why should I? But it's good to see that they're doing something with Dominic. Like you said, he hasn't had really a bad match. So it's not his fault or anything of that. It's just purely me on this one, unfortunately. And I'm kind of glad the belt's off Dolph. Hopefully they'll finally do something with him, but we all know they won't. So B minus.
Well, Big E, if they're going to think you're crazy for giving an A minus, they're really going to think I'm crazy because I went straight A on this one. I went straight A. Now, I agree with Mike's point. The mentioning of the father-son thing never happened before. I think that did get to be a bit much. When you and I did the pre-show or the prediction show on Friday, I said that I thought the Mysterios would win because they had talked about that so much.
Right.
However, I thought that the story that they told was so good that it kept me interested anyway. Dominic getting attacked, okay, before the show. Now, like Mike said, even when the match starts and only Ray comes down, eventually Dominic's going to show up. Okay,
Well,
so Ray
I didn't
takes...
think he would. I thought this was just going to be Ray getting squashed at first. I really did.
Oh, okay. You didn't think Dominic was going to show up at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, I figured he would show up. But when he did, I thought what was cool is that Ray, knowing that his son is hurt and trying to protect his son, didn't want to tag him in. I thought that was pretty interesting and something that a father would do. I thought it was believable. But after taking such a beat down, it gets to a point where Ray's like, look, I have no choice. If we want any chance to win this match, I've got to tag my son in. So he tags him in. And I guess you could call that a hot tag. Dominic gets in, but immediately after that hot tag, Rude hits him with the spine buster, if I'm remembering correctly, kind of slows the momentum of the Mysterios again. So I'm like, okay, wow, not going to happen. Eventually, Dominic tags back out. There's another hot tag, and I believe this one might have been to Ray. And then Rude hits him with this tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, breaking the momentum there. So I'm like, okay, wow, maybe the Mysterios aren't going to win this one. In other words, I'm saying I was drawn in by the story. The work in the match was great. And then the ending, I think that most of the fans wanted. The Mysterios getting over. People like to be witnesses to history. So we all were, whether you were rooting for it or not. You can say you saw history. I just thought it all was great. And I gave it an A.
Yeah, I think Rude and Ziggler deserve a lot of credit for making this match what it was. Being professionals, not phoning it in. They gave 100%, knowing the outcome of the match. And that's why I mentioned them earlier. It takes everybody to have a good match. It does. And especially for somebody like Ziggler, who has a terrible taste in his mouth about the wrestling business, for him to still go out there and be professional.
He's always like this. This is who he is.
Yep.
And
that's why it's such a waste. The guy is so great in the ring. I have never felt like Ziggler has melded in. I felt like in every match I've seen him in, he's left it all in the ring.
He gives
it's
just 1,000.
Too bad that he hasn't had, outside of the one moment after, I can't remember which WrestleMania, but 29. It was one of the hugest pops I ever heard on Raw. Yeah, where he got over, finally won the title. It's just too bad he hasn't had many more moments like that.
Yeah, and they were going to push him when he won the title, but
Pat Patterson loved him. Pat Patterson loved him.
Oh, yeah.
Pat was pushing Dolph huge.
Yeah, he was. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
All right. John Morrison backstage, and he's going to the lumberjack locker room to try to, I guess, sway them his way and look out for the Miz. And remember that movie I mentioned earlier, starring Dave Bautista, going on Netflix, directed by Zack Snyder, Army of the Dead zombie movie? Morrison opens up the lumberjack locker room, and it is full of Walking Dead like zombies. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe this is just okay. The show is sponsored by this movie. They had to put some zombies on the car. Okay, if it's the backstage segment, fine. Leave it there. We're good. Then we go to Roman's locker room with Jimmy and Jay, and we get a normal interaction again. So I'm like, okay, that's all the zombie we're gonna get. Cool. Jimmy wishing Roman good luck, sarcastically. You know, you're gonna need it. Cool. Then we cut back to Morrison and Miz. Morrison telling Miz what he saw. Miz saying, "Oh, you're hallucinating. You're seeing things." And there's a Thriller video in the background, inching towards them again. Then we get the match, the lumberjack match, the Miz versus Damian Priest. They make their entrances, and once Priest comes out, we see the zombies make their way out. They don't come behind the ramp, thankfully. They didn't do that stupid shit. But they come out from all directions. They attack the ring announcers. They just, scare away John Morrison. And they surround the ring. And yeah. I just want to ask Vince. Man, what the fuck, Vince? What in the actual fuck was this? I can't even focus on the match. I only really know Priest won. He won with Hit the Lights, and I guess afterwards, The Miz was eaten alive by the zombies. I don't think we need to go through and grade this shit, okay? I think
the listeners want to know the grade.
Oh, they want to know the grade. They know the grade, my man. Whoa. They know the fucking
it's grade. Our thing. We got to give the grade.
You got to give the grade, man.
Well, this is, to quote Book, a flaming fucking F. Okay, this is ugly as hell. And again, Vince, man, what the fuck was this? Rob, I know this is borderline cinematic, so I'm just gonna let you take it.
All right, just a little bit of leeway. My wife and I have a dog. Okay, cute little Yorkie. His name is Sonny. Now, me and Sonny are good friends, and sometimes I'll be watching these pay-per-views, and Sonny will let me know he's got to go to the bathroom. And I'll be saying, Sonny, you're gonna have to wait until after the match because I've got a podcast to do. I got to take notes, got to watch these matches. So Miz comes to the ring. Damian Priest comes to the ring. And as you said, Big E, we start to see the zombies come to the ring. And it's at that point, I decide, you know what, Sonny? I'm just going to go ahead and take you out anyway, because watching you take a shit is going to be more interesting than the shit I'm about to see right now. So I didn't see the match. My grade was already in. I didn't even see it until today. The only reason I watched it today is because I didn't think it would be right for me to grade a match that I actually didn't watch. So in fairness to our listeners and to the match itself, even though the match doesn't deserve any kind of fairness or any sort of goodwill at all, I watched it. Didn't change my grade. This is an F, in the most emphatic F maybe I've ever given to a match. I don't care how great the wrestling is in the ring. Not saying this wrestling was great. It wasn't. I don't care how great the wrestlers are. Okay, this could have been Savage versus Steamboat at WrestleMania 3, the greatest match I've ever seen. But if they would have had lumberjacks that were zombies, that's an F. I'm sorry. You just can't have zombies as lumberjacks in a match, and you're not going to get anything but an F from me. And I'm not going to keep going here, but I will say one thing. If you're the Miz, do you like being this guy? Do you like being the guy who dresses up in bunny costumes and then loses a WrestleMania match to a guy named Bad Bunny? You have a 1 week run as champion and then lose to Bobby Lashley, who makes you his bitch in every way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And now here you are losing a match to Damian Priest, no shame in that, but then getting quote unquote eaten by zombies. Is this the guy you want to be? Is this the legacy you want? Okay, headlining WrestleMania 27, that was what, 10 years ago? How are people expected to remember that when they see what you're doing right now? I don't get it. And I'm gonna hand it off to Book.
Okay. Listeners know I'm a Miz fan. If you remember WrestleMania, I was a little emotional. I am on a zombie band. I've said it before. I will not watch anything related to zombies. So as soon as that backdoor locker room segment started and it opened, I knew what was going to happen. But I waited. I waited. They did another backstage segment where Morrison tells Miz what he saw. You see them again. It's like, oh, man. And then the match starts, and they show those damn zombies outside the ring. And all of a sudden, they change the electronics around the ring, and it's like burning, apocalyptic type crap.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the broadcasters, they had people dressed like zombies.
These are all people from the PC, from what I've come to understand.
Yeah, they were there. I saw them. There was a few more. If you actually looked around throughout the Thunderdome, there were some sporadic zombies here and there. This is, and I feel very confident in saying this, quite possibly the stupidest, most ignorant, ridiculous, pathetic, fucking disgrace that has ever happened in the WWE. And the only thing I can possibly think of that was more disgraceful to look at was Warrior Hogan 2 in WCW. But this took it to a whole nother level because you added fucking zombies. And wouldn't you think WWE would have learned a lesson when they debuted the return of ECW? What did they do? What walked out? A fucking zombie. That's been talked about as one of the worst segments ever. And you did it again? Saying this is a fucking F does not describe it. Calling it a flaming fucking F doesn't describe it. A motherfucking F doesn't describe. There's nothing I can use to describe this steaming, stinking pile of fucking shit that we all had to witness. Saying fuck you to Vince is not enough. It's just not enough. But I have to grade it, so fine. This, say it with me, say it loud, say it proud. This is a flaming motherfucking F. A dumpster fire, the likes of which we have never seen. And by God, I hope we never have to see that shit ever again. Miz, I am begging you, kick Vince's ass. Tell him enough. Enough of the bullshit. I've had it. Enough. You are destroying this guy and making him a mockery. And I felt bad for Damian Priest too. How is his young talent supposed to rise when he's got fucking zombies surrounding the goddamn ring?
That's who I really felt bad for. It's
Uh,
bad enough you still wearing them fucking purple pants. Then you gotta deal with this shit. Like I think we all like Damian Priest. We would think he has the look and he can be a future main eventer, but this is not how you kick that off.
I couldn't even watch the match.
I get it. He's doing what Vince is asking him to do. He did the match at WrestleMania with Bad Bunny. That went well. He's doing this favor too because of the Army of Darkness movie, or not Army of whatever the fucking name of the movie is.
Army of the Dead. Yeah.
Army of the Dead, whatever. All these zombie movies names sound the same.
They are the same. Because they are the same.
Yeah, you can always count on Dead being in the title. The Walking Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead,
Army of the Dead, Land of the Dead. I mean, the dead is always in there.
Yeah. Look, man. When I see shit like this, I start thinking about start comparing. You know, Street Profits and Viking Raiders come to mind.
God.
What's another one? Well, that has to be the worst thing I've seen in a long time. I still would rather watch Hogan and Warrior over this shit.
Look, we understand you have a tie-in. Okay, I don't bombard us. Go ahead and let us know. Hey, movie on Netflix, Army of the Dead, Dave Bautista, watch it. That would have been enough. You didn't have to make a whole match around it.
No.
There was just no reason to do that. It was a disservice to Damian Priest and to The Miz, who just seems to be a complete doormat for the McMahons. I mean, anytime they want something stupid or goofy done, call The Miz.
The Miz and R-Truth. Former tag. I don't know if they were tag team champions.
They were
definitely a tag team.
They were definitely a tag team, yeah.
Yeah. Faced The Rock and John Cena. Yep. The awesome truth. All right. Let's move along.
Please.
That was painful enough. SmackDown Women's Championship match: Bayley versus Bianca Belair. Now, on our preview show, I thought that this could be the show stealer. I thought that Bayley's heel tactics and the trash talk mixed with Bianca's trash talk would be enough, and I thought that they would put on a good match. I thought it was okay. I wasn't blown away like I thought it would be. I didn't think that their chemistry, I didn't think they meshed as well as I thought or hoped that they would. There was some good, toward the end, they did hit some good combinations and there was some good back and forth. But that damn ending with the braid really bothered me. And I hate that I have to do this because I like both and I really love Bianca. But I'm sorry. Keep it real. That shit would look bad. She did her best to try to save it and recover, but so I have to give this a C-. Bianca did retain with somewhat of a roll up. I can't even call it a roll up with the braid because it was, I don't know, it was janky as hell. But yeah, all I could give was a C-. That's as high as I could go. Rob, what'd you think?
Yeah, I had high expectations for this one as well, but it just didn't work. And I hate to say it, but I'm going to put it mostly on Bianca. I'll cut her some slack because this is her first title defense. That pin at the end where she tried to use the braid and everything, that it did not work. It looked bad. I just didn't feel like Bianca was, I thought she was off. It happens. Mm-hmm. Wrestlers have an off night. Whatever sport you're in, you have an off night. Okay, so she had an off night last night. I gave the match a C. I knew Bianca would win. I think probably all of us knew that. But you just wanted her to look a little bit more convincing in doing so. She's a champion now. And it's a big responsibility. She didn't rise to the occasion last night. So C for me.
It was, well, at least I was able to see my girl Bayley finally. That was nice.
Yeah.
Don't blame Bayley too much for this. I do blame, just like Rob just said, this does fall on Bianca. I there's this was maybe this is a layover from the shit I had to tolerate before. And maybe I'm grading this too harshly. But I did give this a D. I wanted to give it an F. I really wanted to. But I stopped myself.
Look,
because
they
I'm like,
they had the worst thing possible to follow. I mean,
yeah, I couldn't get the images out of my mind from the first match. And I'm like, okay, the F is just the previous match. This is not an F match. It's bad, but it's not F. Come on, book, be generous. So I gave it a D. That ending was shit and sloppy, and it was, you can't forgive such a stupid ending. At one point, Bianca just kind of randomly just, I think Bayley was trying to do like a Samoan drop or something to that effect, and she just kind of fell. It was really weird. She just fell. And it's like, oh, that was a flop. That's not good. That's a botch. They did not gel. They just did not gel the entire match. And Bayley can gel with anybody. So Bianca, maybe this was an off night. I don't know. But this was not a good way for her to debut pay-per-view wise with the women's championship. And she's got to get the blame for it. I'm sure it's not going to be a stain on her career in any way, shape, or form. But this match, not good. A D.
yeah, it happens. I mean, Bianca she's kind of still in that Rhea box. They're kind of in the same box. They have it, and they're gonna have off nights, and it's not. They're just not quite to the point of what words I want to use to describe this, but experience. There's no excuse for experience, and they just don't quite have enough miles on those boots just yet to really fight through and kind of change the trajectory of a match when it's not going well, because we've all seen that happen with certain matches. Like, the wrestlers can tell, okay, this isn't working, let's switch this up. And then, I know they want to incorporate the braid, which is a good idea, and you should. They don't overuse it, which I like, but yeah, that ending. That's it's hard to come back from, but I mean, all the greats have had wishy-washy endings here and there, so it's not a black mark that's going to keep her from advancing or keeping the title. So, but it is what it is. After that, we get the triple threat match for the WWE Championship: Braun Strowman versus Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. I really enjoyed this match. This was, to me, the best match on the card. Um, I thought these three big guys did the best work they possibly could, as far as the match being fast paced, hard hitting, and these big guys doing moves almost like cruiserweight. Braun especially, okay, doing a front flip off the ring apron and sticking it, and between Lashley and Drew throwing each other back and forth on the suplexes. Drew was throwing Braun on the outside, and Braun, to his credit, dude is really big. He's landing, properly. And I mean, this was awesome. I loved a lot of the moves in this match. I thought, Lashley was sent through the Titantron, and we've seen that before, but it's still a cool spot to see. Drew going for the Claymore, getting caught, and then powerbomb through the announce table. And then Drew McIntyre hit a Mitsunoku driver on Braun Strowman. Seriously? Come on, man. This was awesome. This was Lashley being the heel because Drew did the dirty work, kind of had Braun dazed and confused already. And then Lashley disposed of Drew, hits the spear, retains the championship. A. This great. This match was an A for me. This was the best match on the card. I loved it. I got into wrestling to see big guys put on a show, and these three big guys did just that. The right man won. There's no reason to take the title off Lashley right now. They got to save that for when they get the fans back, which is July. So if you're gonna do SummerSlam in front of fans, if you're gonna have him drop the title at any point, do it then, and give it to somebody that either needs it or it's gonna push the envelope and get your ratings up. So yeah, I love this match. Book.
As far as match of the night, I would not give it to this. I would give that honor to how the night started with the Raw Women's title. I thought for me that was match of the night. This was a good match. I gave it a B. It shocked me sometimes. I mean, when people look at Braun, they just look at him as just kind of a one-trick pony. And I've never looked at him as a one-trick pony because he's not a one-trick pony. And he proved it when he did moves like the one you just described when he dove off of the apron. That's not a one-trick pony. So Braun has always been impressive. He's just been stuck in dumb gimmicks here and there that have just killed him. Yeah. Drew, yeah, I would have liked to see Drew win, of course. But the ending in this one, I think they could have done a little bit more on the ending, just a little bit more. It was, I think, a little too sudden. Maybe. Yeah, it was. I was, when he was disappeared, I'm like, okay, he's disappeared a while now. He's gonna come in and do something really quick and get the win, and that's what happened. So it took away from the ending because I was waiting for it, knew it was gonna happen. So that lowered it to what it was going to be a B plus, but since I was right about that, it lowered it down to a B, which is still a good grade. So it was a good match. The big guys performed. The big guys showed up. I just wish the ending hadn't have been I wish they would have done just a little bit more for it. So it's a B.
Well, my grade is splitting the difference between you both. I went B plus. I thought this match was awesome. I thought all three of these big guys showed out. And you don't really see that a lot with big guys. Big E, you said you got into wrestling for the big guys. For me, I've never been blown away by most of the big guys. Most of the greatest matches I've seen are done by smaller guys who can do the aerial moves and are just better technicians to me. But I like the big guys. They have their place, but you just don't see the repertoire of moves that you'll see from the smaller guys. But if you're going to put three big guys in the ring together, this is the kind of match that they should have. Okay, this is what they should do. Even though it was mostly physical and we saw big moves, like you said, we saw a Michinoku driver. And I mean, we saw these guys do moves that you would see smaller guys do. I agree with Mike. The only thing that brought this down is, it was a great spot seeing him go through the Titantron. But when you see him, I hate when that happens, when a guy is out of the ring for too long of a time, comes back in at the last minute, gets the victory. That's, to me, just a cheap way to go. So that's the only thing about it that I didn't like. So for that, I couldn't go A, but I did go B plus.
Yeah, they've been doing that for years. I mean, how many times they do that to Brock? They do it to Brock all the time. If it's triple threat or fatal 4-way, they take him out, and then everybody else does the work, and then here comes Brock at the end, picking the bones,
Well, hell, we saw Brock win a Money in the Bank briefcase match that he wasn't even advertised to be in, but he comes down at the end of the match.
That's different. Yeah.
Yeah, he was even in the match, though.
Yeah, that was bullshit. Because Mustafa Ali was supposed to win that.
Yeah, but I digress.
Yeah. Okay. And it's main event time. Cesaro versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And Roman, all right, good brother. I know you listening, Blake and Rob. You know, y'all had this. Y'all hate Jimmy and Jay, really. Jay Uso being involved in the matches. Roman said, hey, go check on your brother. I got this. So he's a lone wolf tonight. No excuses. However, I was bored as hell in this match for majority of it. It was a lot of rest holds, a lot of headlocks and submissions, and I just wanted. I know Cesaro can work multiple styles, and I didn't want this style of a match. I wanted them to be like the Bruiser type. I know we just had one with the triple threat, but give me some more. You know, I love the uppercuts. Cesaro can deliver those uppercuts like no other. You know, and Reigns, he will. He's very, even though he's the heel, he's very giving in his matches, and he knows that he has to put over his opponent in order to put himself over to keep him, keep his stock higher. I'm not going to dock points because I was bored. I know that they did good work and they worked really hard in the match. I can tell. I did get into it at the end, but I'm tired of this type of ending. Okay. It's like anytime they want somebody to lose but save face, they gotta pass out. We've had like 3 or 4 pass out endings in the last 3-4 months. Okay, it's getting old, and it's like you just have to lose. And I'm gonna save the post match for after y'all graded, but because I got some shit to say about that, but overall, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this match just a B minus, mainly because of the ending. I don't like to pass out, and I know Cesaro fought through it and fought through it and fought through it, but I just would have rather them had a heated exchange at the end, and then Roman just catches him out of nowhere, and he just one ups Cesaro. I thought that would have been a better way to go versus the same old cliche. Oh, he passed out. He didn't tap out. Shit's boring. B minus. Rob.
Man, I couldn't disagree more. I enjoyed this match. This was my favorite match of the night. I, uh, the term rest hold, that must be a new thing. I don't ever remember hearing that as I was coming up. And I think that's something newer people say when you talk things like headlocks or arm locks, those are old school moves. Obviously they're not resting. Okay. These guys are conditioned athletes. We both know both of these. They're not rest holds. They're not doing it to get rest. They're wrestling. But I guess I understand how some of the younger people feel about that. But I thought it was good the way the match played out because look, as strong as Cesaro is, and they've said this a million times, and I agree, he's probably pound for pound the strongest man in WWE, but he's still giving up a lot of weight, a lot of size to Roman. So for him to go in and try to battle Roman, fighting toe to toe, that wouldn't be smart and that wouldn't be believable to me. I thought the way the match played out with the submissions and with the back and forth wrestling, that is a smarter strategy for Cesaro against a bigger man to me. And so that made it all believable. And I thought Roman was really impressive with some of the moves and transitions he was doing. We all know Cesaro can do that. He's great at it. The ending, I do see your point there. It didn't bother me as much only because I like Cesaro so much. And I thought if he just took just a straight loss, to me, that's worse than doing the pass out. I know we have seen it a lot. I do know that. But I feel like they wanted it to end that way so that Cesaro still looks strong, which means they still believe in Cesaro, that they didn't just build him up to lose to Roman, that they're going to continue on with him. He does get to save face by losing this way. They also, during the match, he sold the arm injury to his right arm, but fought through it all against the big, strong guy. And Look, I'm giving this match points because, like you said, we've been so critical of Roman not winning these big matches on his own. Well, finally, he did what a great heel does. And I said on our prediction show that Cesaro would take Roman to his maximum limit. He did, but Roman fought through it. And eventually, look, man, he was just too big, too bad for Cesaro. Passed him out, and he wins without the assistance of Jay, without the assistance of Jimmy. I thought that was a good, credible win for Roman against a credible opponent in what I thought was the best match of the night.
Okay. I was going to be very critical of this match. Being somebody I've been a Cesaro fan pretty much from the beginning. I just always loved the guy. I just thought he was cool. And so I was going to be very critical. And I kept my opinions of this match when I heard it was going to happen to myself. I just didn't say anything because I was fearful of a few things. One, I didn't agree with them doing this now. I thought it's obvious what's going to happen now. He's going to lose. And I didn't want him to lose certain ways. I did not want him getting buried. My fear was him getting buried. That Vince would say, okay, I'm giving you all what you wanted. I gave you your WrestleMania win. Well, guess what? Now I'm going to kill Cesaro off. That was my fear. And to me, that's what I saw. And it has to do with that damn ending. I think they killed him off. And it pisses me off that they did that. They have a chance to change it. But that was the first thing that came in my mind was Vince killed him off. And the other thing I was thinking was, I don't want to see Jay. Not before the match, not during the match, and damn sure not after it. I didn't want him coming into contact with Cesaro in any way, shape, or form. If he came into contact with Cesaro at all, I was going to give this an F. He came into contact with Cesaro. So this, until I don't see it anymore, I said I would do an F. It's still an F. I'm sorry. I'm not tolerating any more Jay. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I don't care.
No.
Yeah.
I just said
You said
don't want to
match.
see. I said I don't want to see him before. I don't want to see him during. I don't want to see him after. I don't want him in round. I just don't. I really don't. It was going good until he shows up at the end. Until he showed up at the end. I could not tolerate. I can't do it. I just can't. What do you like to say? Be 100? If I didn't say this and just pretended that I didn't see that little cocksucker show up at the end, I would be completely lying. I'm sorry. It still bothers me. And so this is an F. And I will continue to give Fs to Roman Reigns matches until the little cocksucker isn't around. Or as his brother said, bitch, which I think I've said that too. I think I've called him a bitch too. I'm just over it. I'm just done with it. I'm going to do an F every single time. Every time. And I feel bad for Cesaro.
Well, I've been a big critic of Jay coming out too. I mean, I've been pretty vocal about it. I've been saying I think it makes Roman look weak. How is he supposed to look like a strong heel? But that was after the match. Roman won the match on his own. Period. Jay had nothing to do with the outcome of the match. Jimmy had nothing to do with it. It was just Roman and Cesaro, and Roman was just better. And that's what a strong heel should do. Now, I'm not saying, look, he's a heel, so obviously we're going to see him do heel shit every once in a while. That's fine. But post-match, look, I don't care, okay? I don't really care what happens post-match. Look, would I have rather not seen Jay at all? Yeah, probably. But I was just so glad I didn't see him during the match. I wasn't even thinking about it. After the match is over and he comes out, I wasn't even thinking about it because I was so glad I didn't see him during the match.
I knew he would show up at the end.
Well, we showed up initially.
I think most
all
people
he
could have
did was-
predicted that. I mean, after Roman wins, Heyman's going to come out, Jay's going to come out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, he really just put the lay on Roman, and then
Super
it
kick
should have ended there.
and super kicked.
Wait. No, I'm saying they should have ended the show. Just stop there. We don't need this bullshit after. Now, you have a problem with Jay. I got a problem with the Friday night idiot coming out here looking like Bozo the fucking clown with that suit on. Sweet Jesus, man. What the hell are you wearing? All he missing is a red cape and a bull. Where's El Torito? Because this dude looks fucking ridiculous, okay?
Actually, kind of like the suit.
No. He looks like the Friday night idiot. He is living up to the name, okay?
I like the suit. I just did.
So
I'm enjoying Rollins. I don't know. I mean, I'm enjoying Rollins. Like I said, ugly suits, that's a heel thing to do. You know, if he was now look, you know, we see the Hurt Business. You can be decked out in a suit and be a heel too, but obviously if you're wearing an ugly suit, you're just trying to be obnoxious. You're just trying to be a heel. So it doesn't bother me. Because you know,
I'm not giving him nope. You see, you you trying to cushion the blow. Nope. He looks like an idiot. Okay.
No, I'm not saying he don't look like an idiot. I'm saying that's a heel thing to do. He's being obnoxious. He's being over the top. He's trying to make you do exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, he's doing his job. He's doing his job.
That's what heels are supposed to do.
The fact that you're so bothered, he did his job right. And anybody else wearing that suit, it wouldn't work. He's the only one that could get that to work. He's the only one that kind of a suit would work for. It fits his character. It fits him perfectly. I just wish he didn't show up because, again, it buries Cesaro. That, of all of it, that's the thing I'm the most pissed off about.
See, but I don't feel like he was buried. He lost to Roman looking strong. If you can look strong in a loss, he looked strong in that loss. And then obviously by having Seth come out, obviously, look, he's done with Roman for now. They're going to revisit him and Seth. And those are high profile matches. That's a high profile program for Cesaro to be in. He is now in the A bracket of, instead of being mid card, he's with the big boys now. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, he's wrestling with the big time now, which is where we all wanted him.
I agree, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, wow, and that's I agree with Book too. That's why they didn't need the Jay beat down at all. Let Roman and Jay leave, and then insert Seth if you're gonna go this route.
There you go.
With Seth and Cesaro again. If you're gonna rekindle that, fine. But there was no reason for Jay to get involved at all.
It was on top of it. They were on top of each other. He gets immediately jumped by Jay, then immediately jumped by Seth. It was just too much.
So yeah, it does look like, if you're just looking at it from that perspective, okay, he got jumped by Jay, he got jumped by Seth. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to write him off. But the fact that Cesaro had previous beef with Rollins, he just beat Rollins on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Beat him at Mania, you know, this feud isn't over. So it does make sense, but they could have done a better job. They did a really, you know, heavy-handed, you know, job of this. But Rob's right too. Cesaro's in the main event now. He's a main event caliber athlete. He's had the potential for years, and it's taken them too long to get here. But now he's here, and he'll stay in this main event bubble. We'll only deal with the Romans and the Seths, the KOs, the high caliber performers. You know, if Daniel Bryan was still around, he'd be, you know, wrestling with him too. So you won't see him with, you know, sorry, Blake, Shinsuke and King Corbin. You won't see him wrestling those guys anymore. At least
thank
for
goodness
now.
for King Corbin. Thank goodness on that one. The human diarrhea bag.
I know,
yeah,
but
who pinned Shinsuke last Friday. Poor Shinsuke.
But Shinsuke did something pretty cool afterwards. So I like where that's going. So he lost the match, but you know, he lost the battle, but he won the war, so to speak.
Well, I don't know if Mike watched. He took the crown.
Well, it was more than just taking the crown. It was what he did with the crown. He made it a thing.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I make it a
So-
point to not have to look at anything that human diarrhea bag is involved in, unless I have no choice.
All right. Well, oh man. Next up is Hell in a Cell, which is kind of shocking. They're doing it in June versus October. But
That just makes me nervous.
so I'm going to go ahead and say now you're going to see more of these same matches next month to write them off. You're probably going to get Drew and Lashley again for the final
Probably.
time.
Cesaro and Seth.
Cesaro, Seth. You'll probably get Roman and I don't know, Roman and Jimmy maybe. I don't know.
Who'd you say?
Roman and Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
Or they might even do something where they get both Usos versus him. I don't know. Either way, it'll be.
Or maybe
that.
Jimmy versus Jay. Maybe you get that.
Maybe.
Have them face each other. I think that'd be better than having to face Roman. I'd have them face each other.
I agree, but then what do you do with Roman?
He doesn't have. See, the Roman is the champ. He doesn't have to be on.
He doesn't have to
be on the show.
Have him.
No,
I don't
he
know.
doesn't
Have him face Big E.
But I mean, Roman is the guy. Like
I know you don't want it. I know.
No.
Roman's the guy. I mean, that's like not having Cena on a pay-per-view back in the day, or not having Hogan or Stone Cold on it. Roman's the guy.
He's the guy, but you make your fans want to see. If you don't have anything for him to do, which they kind of don't, you don't want to just give him some bullshit that we all know he ain't gonna lose. You know, that's like last year after Drew won the title off of Brock Lesnar. Who they put him with? Dolph Ziggler. Like, okay, you think he ain't gonna beat Dolph Ziggler? He just beat Brock Lesnar. Come on, man. So it's that type of shit that doesn't make sense.
Right.
I do think we will get a women's Hell in a Cell, and I think it'll be Charlotte and Rhea, and I think that will be awesome.
I think so too.
So
can it live up to Bayley and Sasha?
That's some big shoes to fill, because that match was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's potential there, but I wouldn't predict it though. That match was awesome.
I don't think it'll live up to that.
They can do it, because Charlotte will go balls to the walls if he has to.
It's not Charlotte that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And
It's
I think
Rhea.
that's a good point.
It's Rhea.
You know, we got to remember Rhea is still, what, 23, 24,
Mm-hmm.
and as talented as she is, you know, in these big spots, you know, she just might not be all the way there. But you know what? I'm still going to be curious about it, and wouldn't be shocked if we see something special.
Well, I guess we'll see where how long Vince is going to hold out. You know, he's not the most patient individual. So we'll see. So that's next month, coming up next week. However, we have an AEW pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. I've been watching, keeping up. They don't really have a whole lot of matches announced yet. I'm guessing this week, Dynamite, they'll announce more. I'm a little behind on my Dynamite. I know that there's been some changes. I gotta catch up, but that is next weekend or this weekend coming up.
It's a week from Sunday.
It's a week from 30th. Sunday. Okay.
May 30th, the day before Memorial Day.
Okay. That's why I got you here, Rob. You know, you the ambassador. You know all this shit. There's no way I can keep up with all this. So make sure you check out previous shows. Obviously, night 1, night 2 of WrestleMania. The post shows. You can also check out the video footage on YouTube. And we had a countdown, worst gimmick matches, as well as what was the other show we did? Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts, AEW. Check out MJ Books Podcast, Countdown Podcast 2020. Check out myself and Rob. We were special guests on 2 episodes before Mania. And then you just did the Intercontinental Championships Countdown with good brother Blake. Really enjoyed that show. A little sad that one person wasn't on either list, but
who?
Kofi.
Oh, please.
I mean, he's been a Continental Champ a bunch of times.
Please. No.
And I think there's and Kofi and Triple H. Nobody mentioned Triple H.
No.
So
No.
I just expected somebody to say
no.
But
nope.
So yeah, check him out on we're pretty much all on the same channels. Spotify, Podbean. You can check us out on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Book Show is also on Amazon. So you can check us out there. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And you can email us at thirdgenwrestling@gmail.com. Your requests for any retrospectives. The next retrospective will be a NXT pay-per-view chosen by Good Brother. So we'll be looking to do that one sooner than later. I think that's all I got. Take us home.
Hey, listeners, we appreciate y'all. We want to hear from you. Get vaccinated.
Yeah, pretty much. We're going to keep preaching till y'all get the damn shot. It's free.
Y'all want to go back to live shows, right?
Yeah.
This is how it happens.
Well, I'm going, damn it.
Yeah, I got my first shot just this last weekend, so it did some damage.
Oh, just wait.
It did some damage. It made me.
Look, man,
I got a fever.
Hey, I've had worse hangovers than that second shot. So if I can do it, all you listeners out there can.
Right. So that being said, thank you all for listening. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your families. Please go get the shot. We strongly encourage it. And again, like Ambassador said, thank you all for listening. And take care. We'll speak to you all again in a few days.